Good evening and welcome everyone to the official coverage of Rainlight Racing's final round for the 2024 GT3 Series 5, the first of, I'm sure, first series for the year, as I'm sure there's more GT3 racing to come from Rainlight Racing. Obviously, once again, brought to you by Nortec Trek 31 Titanium Digital Solutions, True to Life Racing, Crossy 43, and always broadcast to you by Matchfit Entertainment. That is myself, Davo, and J-Man by my side. How are you, my friend?
I'm well, Davo. Absolutely looking forward to this. Obviously, we had a week's delay on this with server issues last week, so I am fired up for this one, mate. This is going to be an absolute doozy.
We were fired up last week.
We were fired up, mate.
Yeah. So anyway, we just went to the pub after that. But anyway,
pretty much.
Look, must introduce a special guest tonight, and hopefully I get this information right. a lovely gentleman by the name of Andrew Turner. Look, this guy's got some cred. Started as a fire marshal for the V8 supercars in Pukekohe. He became the chief fire marshal for V8 supercars. Ended up doing a little bit of supercar racing himself, J-Man, and more.
Yeah, Central Muscle Car Series, one that I've followed for many years myself, peddling a very, very beautifully presented Commodore, early rock-inspired Commodore, just an absolute stellar-looking machine, and I'm sure to much success. And then, obviously, campaigned this thing in 2007 onwards, and then ended up in 2020 getting into the TA2 Mustang, of which, Dave, I think you've got some data there on Andrew's successes.
Yes, we will be talking to this man in a moment. Won the inaugural TA2 championship last year and currently running first place in this year's championship with one round to go. Big round of applause, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. Andrew Turner, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, good to come along and see what goes on here.
Yeah, okay. Look, it's absolutely awesome to have you on board. Now, Andrew Turner and his wife Alison are owners and directors of Nortec Industries, which is one of our primary naming rights sponsors. Sorry, I just got a little bit of a hiccup there, Andrew, because I saw the rain just come in on server.
So we're just watching the server at the same time.
Yes,
Andrew Turner, Mr. Nortec himself, and he is here, obviously, after sponsoring the season 5 here at Rainlight Racing, just to give us hopefully a pat on the back, but also to give us a rundown on, look, what is Nortec? Look, he's probably going to fill in a lot of gaps that we missed, J-Man, to be honest. So,
for sure. Over to you, Andrew.
Well, Nortec Electronics is a contract electronics manufacturer. So yeah, we make a lot of products across all sectors, from consumer, do a lot in the automotive, marine, but we're all the way through to aircraft and aerospace these days. So it's a whole range, making other people's electronics for them, basically, out of New Zealand. I think 96% gets exported. So there's a lot of different products getting made. But the relationship to the motor racing, I've always been a petrol head, that's a good start. But we developed the electronic flashpoint lights. Yeah. So all the automation you see at Tony Quinn's tracks and all the circuits in New Zealand, most of them are Aussie now, with flag point lights and live CCTV, live tracking of cars, a lot of that gear. We developed all of that system.
Wow, so some serious tech-savvy stuff going on in your establishment, Andrew. And, just looking through the bio, obviously formed the company around 1989. And then, I think probably one of the things that stood out for me on the reading, being a business owner myself, is, the fact that yourself and Alison admitted into the Manukau Business Hall of Fame for outstanding business achievement. That must have been a huge moment for yourself, your wife, and Nortec.
Yeah, everybody knows the business is always pretty tough and you have ups and downs, but it's good to get recognised. And yeah, it's been 35 years now, so we can sit back and enjoy it a bit more now.
Yeah, absolutely. Work on the business, not in it so much, so to speak. They say that's when you've really cracked it.
Absolutely. So, with all of like what you got going on there, like you're saying, building other people's electronic stuff for them, to put in their equipment. What, being a petrol head, you wanted to get involved with the motion rig stuff. Obviously, that's why you're here sponsoring, online racing, obviously at Rainlight. What sets your gear out, apart from being built in New Zealand, which is awesome? What sets your gear apart from the rest of the crowd, my friend?
Well, most of your simulators, they flex and they're pretty, they're okay. They're a bit of fun, but they're not real, not the real effect that you get in a race car.
Yeah.
So the professional guys get on very expensive rigs, and I've been on some. That's how I actually learnt Bathurst before I went and raced there on a 100,000 plus rig, and it was awesome. It was great. when we got to Bathurst, it was all on iRacing, but it was millimeter perfect. Every braking marker, every bump in the road was pretty much millimeter perfect. But what really sets the bar is a good chassis, so that your force feedback steering and your pedals can take the forces that you would use in a race car.
Yep.
And
wow.
When you know, I know the GT3's got ABS and a few nice things, but TA2s, the muscle cars, we really have to stand on those brakes. So it actually turned out during lockdown, I had a simulator. I went full hydraulic pedals, built them on myself, used the same pedal box we used in the race car, but they just flexed too much.
Yep.
But during COVID lockdowns, lots of research, then started cutting aluminium and building a rig.
COVID.
You got carried away.
A lot of R&D through COVID.
Yeah, that was it.
Good stuff. And so obviously, you already had the background as far as the electronic side of it sorted, Andrew. So I guess that there was merely a formality of, getting that side of it together with everything else. So a big focus, like you mentioned, towards that rigidity of the chassis and getting that feel. So what can potential purchasers expect from these rigs? They go as far as, we hear about 3 DOF, 6 DOF, and we hear about anti-traction loss and stuff like that. Do you have the full range packages sort of thing, like to the top end of the scale? I mean, we've seen some of these motion sim rigs upwards of $100,000, as you just mentioned. Is there an entry scale, or are you sort of focused on that higher end, or like how far can people go, or where could they start?
Well, that was the thing. I did some work with Motion Force, and we were using theirs. We had one at Hampton Downs, trained on that, and they're about 120,000 Kiwi.
Yep.
I talked to them and said, what about an entry-level one? People will spend 10, 20, 30 grand maybe, but 120, how many are you going to sell? And Greg Murphy's got one, and a couple of guys, I think Shane Van Gisbergen's got one, but who else can afford them? Yeah. And they weren't interested. They said, it's not our market. So once we built one, we were looking at that entry level, but taking the best bits, but being able to customize it and add or put better gear on as you could afford it.
Yep. Improve.
So that's where we started. Basically, you need a good solid chassis and a good seat. We use Racetech seats. I know Racetech quite well. Worked with Dave there for many years and used the seats. So we use that seat because that's what you sit in the car. Then you go to a good pedal box. We're not fussy. People use what they've got now, but you can upgrade later on. And then good force feedback steering wheel. 3 curb monitors, but you don't have to buy it all at once. So we can build similar rig, complete everything for about 30k. But we suggest, like most of your guys already got most of the gear.
Yeah.
You just need a good chassis that you can adjust for different size people and expand as you see fit.
Yeah, because like you say, most of the guys have got the peripheral stuff anyway. So you just put your pedals in, put your wheel on, and just add to it if need be.
Yeah, and I find that really intuitive, and the conversation that we're having, Andrew, and I think it's fair to say, given the cars you've campaigned, and we also we failed to mention that you also do have a BMW that campaign in some of the endurance series as well. That I think it's pretty much gospel when you hear a race car driver talking about the expectation of fuel in Simland. Like you're very qualified to comment about that. So I think that would speak volumes to a lot of purchasers as well, around the fact that, look, hey, what it feels like, what lateral G's are like, the stresses that you feel in a race car versus a sim rig. I myself personally have had the luxury over the years of having a few race cars and having a bit of a go here and there. And I think somebody asked me once, well, what one word, what could you describe a race car lap as? And I think I just came up with violent, because it is very violent. Just all the forces. I think, would you agree with that, Andrew?
Yep, that's exactly the word I would use. Yep.
So the fact that you've got this unique ability to be able to transfer it into this world, and it's something that we all, as sim racers, always talk about. this isn't reality, or this is blah blah, or this is close to thing. I think it's a great vision that you've had, and the fact that you've implemented it and you're putting it out there, and just amazing. And just another quick stat too for the viewers that have tuned in, because we have got a few viewers starting to tune in. I believe there was a point of time last weekend at the V8 Supercars in Taupo where Andrew actually led a fair amount of laps of that race, of the supercar race.
I think he was winning for most of it, wasn't he, on day one?
I think I won. I was winning for about 10 laps, but then they decided to pull in that safety car and let the boys go and race.
Yeah, so our very own Andrew Turner was actually driving the safety car at the supercars round last week, or the weekend before, sorry, and I do understand that that car turned a lot more laps than some of the categories out there. So, yeah, well done for that too, mate.
It was pretty busy on Saturday, but Sunday the race was a bit boring. And behind the scenes, you wouldn't have heard it, but if there's any of the Aussies out there, the boys in the background, and we're actually saying, can we deploy the kangaroo so we can get the safety car out, punch the back up again.
Yeah, well, somebody could at least throw a mannequin out onto the circuit like we saw at IndyCar this morning. That would have helped.
Dear.
Anyhow, what we do have is like Davo just to mention, this is Andrew Turner that is going to tune in for a fair bit of tonight with us and watch proceedings and chip in where he can. And we have got this qualifying session underway.
We do. We got a little bit of vision actually of on track there, J-Man, and like what both caught our eye while we were talking to Andrew was when the server clicked over and it was raining, and we both took a breath and went, oh, okay, this will be interesting. Look, up in the comms box, it's awesome. We love the rain, so it's easy for us. We're dry. It's 24 degrees, dry. It's beautiful.
Okay. So for the viewers watching and ourselves, what we have got is this half an hour qualifying broken into what is potentially, by the look of what I'm seeing here,
it'll be the
AMs
and the AMs together. That's right.
Yeah. So provisionally, obviously, got some times about to circulate through. I'm just trying to pick up on my data there who is the first car on track, and it was Kenneth Worcester in there, but Harrison Bella straight to the top provisionally on a 202.4.
Yeah, definitely. Gunther Rowe just about to cross the line as well. J-Man pops that Guerrilla Racing Skyline straight up there.
Yeah, so obviously a lot slower times. I think I did hear someone quote, what did we hear earlier, Davo, in the dry 154s, was it something? Yep. So we're a good, Gunther Rowe, incredibly sideways in the Datsun.
And the big four-wheel drift there.
Yeah, he did get that proper sideways out of there. So obviously I'm not sure what the guys have had to deal with this week, but be potentially looking to maybe come back in and set a few wet tyre pressures here tonight to try and get these things as far up the pointy end as they can before the commencement of this one, as Gunther Rowe just gets that a little bit wrong.
Quite possibly there, J-Man. Look, I suppose thankfully for these guys, the AMs and the Pro-Ams here, they've grouped the boys together again when, some of the AM guys don't turn up. It's the numbers, it's just better to bunch them together. And so it gives them a longer session, J-Man. So I think some of those guys will be thankful for that. They might be able to, like you're saying, just jump in there, do a couple of quick little to-dos with the car and get back out.
Yeah,
a couple of names to mention, I suppose, that we might not be calling in the Pro-Am qualifying next season would be firstly Nick Firth.
Yeah.
I think the other one was, let's get a bit of camera on him, T-Fam. Oh, he's off the track.
Yeah, so I was on him. Andrew would have seen that I was already on the T-Fam 111 car, and he was in the grass, and it's not safety grass.
No.
Don't grip on that grass, eh?
No, it's incredibly slippery. I mean, the track will be slippery enough, Andrew, but let alone going out there on the grass.
Don't go out there. No, don't go out there.
So he's gone out there and made a meal of that, and currently actually hasn't banked a lap. So that is a name that's come up in the chat already on the stream as being maybe a potential guy to take it to the top as far as this